You're tuned to World Vibe Art Sound FM 92.7. I've got special guest in Frank Madrid, where we're exploring music from around the world that has appeared live here in Canberra.
C'était un type qui étudiait la philo, la Sciences Po, alors la philo, je sais pas. Il m'a saoulé toute la soirée avec le Che et Allende, évidemment. Il voulait combattre l'injustice sociale, changer le monde par voie orale. En discutant sans lassitude, le coup d'état de Cuba, la situation de favela. C'était un DJ d'une île enflammée qui a incendié la soirée à coups de basse, à coups de son. Et il passait plein de reggaeton. Un vrai tombeur, un séducteur reconnaissable à l'odeur de l'or, du blanc et des paillettes. Chemise ouverte, sans son alerte. Sans son alerte.
You are listening to World Vibe. My name is Rafael Flores, Art Sound FM. That was a track from Colombian band La Chiva Gantiva. And this week we're doing a special on amazing bands from around the world that have played here in Canberra. And these guys played at the Street Theatre a couple of years ago. Thanks to my guest, who is Frank Madrid. Thank you very much for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me, Rafael. It's a pleasure to be here.
If you don't know, Frank also has his own World Vibe show during the month, and I've asked him to come in to chat about some of the things that he's known for here in Canberra and how I first got to know him, and that is as a cultural producer who brings a lot of amazing and some of my favorite bands in the world to Canberra. So, yeah, thanks for joining me, man.
It's a pleasure. It's a real pleasure. As it has been a real journey and a real pleasure to share with Canberrans the music of so many amazing bands that when you look back at the catalog of artists that have been performing in Canberra, being as part of the Multicultural Festival or at Stage 88 during Floriade or at the Street Theatre or in Garima Place.
Yeah, Garima Place, yeah.
There has been a selection of bands that we could be very proud that Canberra has been playing host to those amazing sounds from the Americas.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's, I guess in the back of my mind doing this show is also a bit of the addressing that idea that I guess some people still have, that big shows don't come to Canberra, or like international artists don't stop in Canberra. And it's like, no, it's actually been happening all the time, and a lot of people are doing a lot of work to try and do this. Yeah.
Well, it's obviously it was challenging, but there was one of the things that I always tell people around Australia and around the world is that Canberrans are a bunch of very discerning people. And when you try to bring bands that are not really in the mainstream here in Australia, they're probably major, very successful bands back in Latin America.
Or in Europe as well.
Yeah, many of the bands that have been here, they have been awarded Grammys, Oscars. So they are very, I guess, high-profile bands. But coming to Canberra, I've always tried to make sure that when they come to Australia as part of the touring circuit, Canberra was there. In a way, it was part of that exercise that is a non-stop exercise that is audience development and that starts with exposing audiences to new sounds, new experiences, so that the next time around it's a little bit easier for bands to appreciate that the experience is going to be a good one.
Yeah. For the next hour, we'll be playing tracks from around the world, but all these bands have actually played live here in Canberra. So we're going to continue on with a bit more music. So we started off with a band called Chiva Gantiva. Do you want to just tell us quickly about them? Because they've got quite an interesting story as well.
Well, this is a great band, and I think it's an example for us here in Australia. They're actually a group of Colombian migrants that went to Belgium and then working in Belgium as musicians became an active part of the music scene there. Then they became, citizens of that country and got really engaged in finding these sounds and blending their authentic Colombian sounds with the rock and with elements of the local music scene, to the point that they've become so successful. And it's also a reflection of multiculturalism there, that often when Belgium has to send an ambassador to a festival, they send Chiva Gantiva.
Oh, that's amazing. So they send a Colombian band as a representative of Belgium, which is amazing.
Because he's representative of the sound of the country, because it is a multicultural sound. And that was the reason why I actually stopped and listened to Chiva Gantiva, started to pay attention to what they were doing, because I thought it was going to be very interesting to expose Australians to that experience.
Beautiful. We're going to continue with this Colombian theme for the next couple of tracks. We've got coming up next Choc Town, a track featuring a salsa orchestra called La 33, and I believe La 33 have played here in Canberra as well.
So we had the privilege of listening to Choc Town as part of the Floriade program, and also La 33, two of the most important acts in not only Colombia but across the Americas, and we Canberrans were lucky to have them.
Awesome. This is World Vibe. My name is Raphael. I've got Frank Madrid in, and we're doing a special on international bands that have played here in Canberra. You're tuned to Art Sound FM 92.7.
Atención rumberos y rumberas, aquí les llega un Funky Bugalú con la participación especial de Choc y la 33, para que lo gocen de aquí hasta Cafarnaúm, eso es lo que hay.
Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo.
Mucho ojo mi gente que quiere envenenarte la cabeza con pecado malo en la mesa, pero eso a mí no me estresa. Ojo, mucho ojo que el tráfico de influencia de gente que sin decencia quiere verte decadencia, porque la envidia es mala, la gente sale con vainas raras, problemas traen bala, la próxima vez te doy en la cara, por darme tu pecado envenenado te llevo en la mala.
Saca la mano de mi bolsillo, no me vas a tumbar, con ese canto tan viejo no me vas a robar a otro perro con ese hueso, te rompo la boca y allí no ponen yeso, dice que produce más que quien, que mejor, sabiendo que lo que te doy es puro sabor, si algún día te llames sonero, hoy eres peor que político embustero, toma.
Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo.
No me gusta tu tumbao, mucho menos tu pecado. A mí no me lo dejes, ya te tengo pillado. Cada 4 años se bebe del bacalao. Menos mal que mantengo los bolsillos apretados. El fanatismo no deja ver por encima de lo que último manejan los políticos y se llevan a los mismos pelados que hacen en esa entera. No coman el pecado que le quiere dar la pela.
Pidi pidi dududen, dududen, esta cerca de mí no me quiere, qué bien, me quiere ver pasando al otro lado, por eso es que me das tu pecado envenenado, jaja, qué risa me da. Primero cae por antes de que me puedas tocar, toma un consejo para la prosperidad, hey, vete de aquí mala energía y no vuelvas más.
Pescado envenenado, pescado envenenado, pescado envenenado, pescado. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo. Yo no me como ese pecado, así sea del choco. Ese pecado envenenado, ese no lo como yo.
No me pidas que me quede esperando, no me pidas que me esconda y me vaya, no me digas que mejor que me aguante para ver si la cabeza me talla. Yo no quiero que me agarre en la noche, no me pidas que ahora tire la toalla, no me pidas que me vaya corriendo, que me rinda sin pelear la batalla.
Mira que la
I'm better riddle with it. Some people whine and giggle. Come on the after shot tonight we featuring the fiddles. They wanna dance a little. Charanga in the middle. Pull your ring, whoa. I make the rebels say kill. Mojitos make them bubble. Forget the walls to strive to wipe to issues giving trouble. I am a free spirit. I love to whip the stick it. Don't like the vice to put the people in a proper panic.
I'm getting critical, people so cynical. Forget about the spiritual, all about the physical. Man a rap stop shoot without principle. Would a slam Renegado, dirty or clinical. But a rock runs out a in a funeral. Mama man I water hysterical. Them try to tell us say you dead accidental. But you have 70 to 50 mash up your mental.
Ya no se calla, no vale la pena dar más papaya. Mira que la gente ya no se calla, no vale la pena dar más papaya.
No isn't in the rhythm, more happiness we give them. I am the drums, the bass, my melody where I can swing them. I am the needle and groove, the dancing shoes and the moves. We wanna party, we have nothing to prove. Tonight you're having no fears, dancing with musical chairs. With signs of row, put your hands them up in the air. Try this last, bonitas, I love your life, I eat us. One love for me, gente, one love for me, gente,
Mira que la gente ya no se calla, no vale la pena dar más papaya. Mira que la gente ya no se calla, no vale la pena
I'm
dar
getting
más
critical, people so
papaya.
cynical. Forget about the spiritual, all about the physical. Man a rap stop shoot without principle. Would a slam Renegado, dirty or clinical. But a rock runs out a in a funeral. Mama bad I water hysterical. Them try to tell us say you dead accidental. But you have 70 to 50 mash up your mental.
one love for me, gente.
That's a track called Mas Papaya from Colombian band Sidestepper. Before that, you heard Choc Town, another Colombian band with a track called Pescado and Evenenao. My name is Rafael. You are tuned to World Vibe. And in studio with me, I've got special guest Frank Madrid. We were just chatting off air about that last track and where they first played here in Canberra. And it was in a very interesting location, wasn't it, Frank?
It was. It actually wasn't a location when they did it because the place had not been finished. So we cannot even say that it was established place. It was what was going to become the Nishi Gallery.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where you have an idea and you present an idea to the corporate world, and somehow magic and chemistry happens. You need people with an open mind.
Yep.
We decided that we said we were going to bring this act that is a leading electronica Afro-Colombian band, and they said yes. And the rest was history. It was one of the most amazing shows and one of the most amazing nights. I remember. I really recall. I was there with Robin Archer.
Yes,
and we were just mesmerized, and she was mesmerized at how the underground of Canberra came right, left, and center and congregated there at the Nishi Gallery with so many artists. And that's where we could see that there was going to be a future for these kind of experiences in Canberra.
Yeah. And it all happened in a concrete block, essentially. Sidestepper was playing that track specifically. I remember, it's one of my favorite tracks. Yeah.
Oh, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding to see how people like you know so much about music and enjoy the exotic sounds. It's very rewarding to see that the effort that goes into bringing a band like this pays off, because it resonates with you and your friends and perhaps inspires your artistic endeavors for the future. And I think that it's an interesting space where we can operate and work. Not an easy one, because of course working in a small city, but that's at the same time exciting because it's challenging.
I know what you mean about that idea of being excited about someone coming into a show that you have put in so much effort in, and their mind being blown about this amazing group that they saw, or this dance, and it affecting their life in a really positive way. It's almost the reason why we do what we do. I think that's kind of like a major reason. I think.
Totally. And I guess this particular band, I can second guess you and ask your question as to why Sidestepper. I think Sidestepper it's a revolutionary band in many ways, because it was almost like it's a band that when it started, they could see the future. They could actually, the music they were playing, this track, Mas Papaya, sounds so contemporary, so fresh today.
So it's got the electronic elements, it's got the kind of cumbia percussion, and it's also got some kind of rap vocals, Jamaican style rapping as well.
Totally. And I guess this is kind of the interesting thing is with this particular band is that it's the blending of two cultures, the Colombian authentic music and the work of Richard Blair, this extraordinary British producer that went to Colombia, fell in love, never left, and has contributed so much to what is now one of the most buzzing music scenes in Latin America and perhaps the world, Colombia.
So we'll continue on with some music. We'll head to Brazil now. Another artist who you brought here, a guy called Flavio Renegado. He's a social activist, rapper, community leader. How did you get him in? And
the Renegado is a very interesting example of how you come across an amazing artist that is not yet big. I went to Minas Gerais in Brazil, and there was this incredible concert. It was celebrating the life of Milton Nascimento, and as part of that, Renegado was playing very early in the concert, and I could see that this guy had a very interesting approach to rap. It was a storytelling of the very best. It reminded me of Omar Musa in many ways.
Yeah, the Quimbian Canberra local.
Yeah, it reminded me of Omar, and I had brought Omar to Brazil actually. So I thought, what an interesting exercise to explore the idea of bringing Renegado here. He comes from one of the biggest favelas in Brazil, and he was telling me that he wanted to use rap, hip hop, spoken poetry, spoken word to highlight the reality of the favela in a positive way, as to the sense of community and the strong sense of I guess unity and solidarity that happens in a place like a favela in Brazil.
You are tuned to World Vibe on Art Sound FM, where we're exploring some of the artists from around the world that have played here in Canberra with my special guest, Frank Madrid.
Canto pro meu pranto se quebrar, trazendo alegria ao sol virar. E com ele o meu cantar.
Quando eu canto, acabam-se os prantos. Vejo esperança e alegria nos olhos dos manos. Emano da alma o meu canto de guerra. Poesia urbana, às vezes vulgar, mas sempre sincera. O griot futurista que mantém vivos ancestrais. No tambor, nos beats, eu sou capaz. Meu canto não traz sabedoria de um profeta, mas a malandragem de um marginal poeta que chora quando rimo dia a dia, de quem vive sorrindo com a panela vazia. O meu canto fortifica quem fecha com nós. Através do meu canto o morro tem voz. Sou o versador que põe amor no que verbalizar e dá a própria vida pelo que acredita. Não faço guerra em nome da paz, pois um homem de verdade pela paz a guerra não faz.
Canto pro meu pranto se quebrar, trazendo alegria ao sol virar. E com ele o meu cantar.
Psicopado, rimado, falado, chorado ou versado, não importa a forma. Importante é que eu não me calo. O meu canto fortifica a luta dos manos e deixa triste o sorriso dos tiranos. Quando canto o meu canto, encanta a mina na pista, encantada com a rima requebra. Na batida o meu canto canta as alegrias da vida e também canta cicatrizes nela adquirida. A felicidade de ter um grande amor, também a tristeza de quem nunca encontrou. Cantador de perder pessoas queridas. Quem não canta não espanta os males da vida. Canto samba, cerveja e o futebol. No domingo à tarde como é lindo o pôr do sol. A dor e a tristeza não podem nos abater. Cantando juntos somos fortes. Sabe por quê?
vida sem maldade, ela é bela, mas estamos só de passagem. Cantou. A alegria de estar vivo. Cantou. Vou celebrando com os amigos. Cantou. A vida sem maldade, ela é bela, mas estamos só de passagem.
Canto pro meu pranto se quebrar, trazendo alegria ao sol virar, e com ele o meu cantar. Lá, lá, lá. E com ele o meu cantar. Lá, lá, lá. E com ele o meu cantar.
En la curva del camino, un amor yo me encontré. En la curva del camino, dos amores encontré. Pero el camino seguía, la curva ya la pasé. Pero el camino seguía, la curva ya la pasé. El cruzar la encrucijada exige concentración. El cruzar la encrucijada exige concentración. Si mi cicatriz hablara, contaría su versión. Si mi cicatriz hablara, contaría su versión. Nada más conozco un modo, ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si sos un niño vudú? Asúmelo. Nada más conozco un modo, ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si ya apretaste el botón de random? Atahualpa y Marco Polo van a sentarse a la orilla. Atahualpa, Marco Polo van a sentarse a la orilla, para pensar en sus cosas y abrazarse las rodillas. Para pensar en sus cosas y abrazarse las rodillas. Nada más conozco un modo, ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si sos un niño vudú? Asúmelo. Nada más. Ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si ya apretaste el botón de random? Precipicios, remolinos, volvieron mi voz cascada. Precipicios, remolinos, volvieron mi voz cascada. Solo tenía un barril, yo oía el ruido del agua. Y solo tengo un barril y escucho el ruido del agua. Nada más conozco un modo, ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si sos un niño vudú? Asúmelo. Nada más conozco un modo, ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si ya apretaste el botón de random? Niño vudú. Nada más. Ante la duda todo. ¿Qué le vas a hacer si ya apretaste el botón de random?
You are tuned to World Vibe on Art Sound FM 92.7. you've just heard a track from Uruguay by an artist called Martin Buscaglia, who has played right here in Canberra in Agreement Place, actually. We seem to be talking a lot about Agreement Place, actually, in this show. Yeah, an amazing artist who uses a lot of like loop pedals. He's almost like a one-man band. You chose him. It's a big part of a festival that you were producing, and you toured him around Australia. Is that right?
Yeah. It was incredible. And before I forget, I think all those references to Garima Place is because deep down, you and I just want an amphitheater in Garima Place where you can do all these wonderful things, and a little bit like Federation Square. So if any decision makers out there are tuning in, don't listen to Rafael and Frank. We just want a state-of-the-art little amphitheater in Garima Place so we could do all this adventures in music. But back to...
It's not much to ask.
Yeah, not much to ask. But back to Martin. Yeah, he came as part of the Pura Vida Festival, which it was one of those highlights of music. We have bands from 11 countries performing. It was unbelievable. And it was a collaboration of all of the Latin American embassies based in Canberra. It was a perfect example, a very good example of cultural diplomacy, because it was a way of promoting the continent at the same time, and through music, which is really a universal language. Martin was a unique act, because although I know that he's a superstar in Uruguay and very respected in places like Spain or Argentina, where they have incredible music scenes, very competitive. He's carved a niche into those music scenes. But then when he came here, he was a sensation. When we were looking at this review by the Sydney Morning Herald, Martin Buscaglia is often compared with Prince. He was like a mix of, they said that he was a mix of Prince and Caetano Veloso with the Uruguayan twist. And the reviewer said that Prince was yet to produce music with the melodies of Buscaglia. And when I read this to Martin was like, "What? Are you saying that I'm better than? Are they saying that I'm better than Prince? Are they mad?"
That's so funny. And we also mentioned that there was a documentary that we produced about this specific tour, and it features a lot of these musicians, including a bit of an interview with Martin and with yourself as well. So I'll post that up on the World Facebook page.
Will you?
Yeah.
That would be great. I think that a lot of people will be very excited to see Martin Buscaglia and some of the artists that you've selected for tonight.
I think Canberra audiences and the population of Canberra have benefited a lot from that. So I think it's really good to have people like you working in the city and bringing these amazing bands in. For example, a band called Novalima from Peru, which we brought here a couple of years ago, and they played, I believe, in the Spiegel tent. Yeah.
Novalima came as part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Peru and Australia, and it coincided with the celebration of the centenary. And I tell you what, a band of this quality is so incredible. And I remember having to beg. You know when you're begging and you think, I shouldn't be doing this? But I remember having to beg to the people of the centenary to have Novalima performing for free at one of the stages. And the response was no, but I didn't stop there or persevere. And the Spiegel tent was in town, and I spoke to them, and La 33 was in town,
and
Novalima,
famous Colombian salsa band. Yeah.
So we had two of the best bands in the continent, and I was offering them for free. In the end, it happened the best possible way at the Spiegel tent. I still get people stopping me on the street saying that was one of the best gigs they've ever been to. So Novalima is incredible because it blends the Afro-Peruvian sound, because when we think of Peru, we don't think of African sounds. We don't think that they have a big African descendant population, but they do. And the music is amazing.
Art Sound FM, World Vibe 92.7.
América llegó mi abuela vestida de caracoles. La trajeron los españoles en un barco carabela. La marcaron con candela, la carimba fue su cruz. Y en América del Sur, al golpe de sus dolores, dieron los negros tambores ritmos de la esclavitud.
Así.
Eso es. Por una moneda sola la revendieron en Lima. Y en la hacienda La Molina sirvió a la gente española. Con otros negros de Angola ganaron por sus faenas zancudos para sus venas, para dormir duro suelo. ¡Llévalo!
Este es mi ritmo lando, este es mi ritmo que anda. Este es mi ritmo lando, este es mi ritmo que anda.
Murieron los negros viejos, pero entre la caña seca se escucha su zamacueca y el pan alivio muy lejos. Y se escuchan los festejos que cantó en su juventud, de Cañete a Tambuctú, a Chancay, a Mozambique. ¿Cómo?
Este es mi ritmo lando, este es mi ritmo que anda.
Este es mi ritmo lando, este es mi ritmo que anda.
No me vale. Así.
Ritmos negros del Perú, ritmos negros.
Este es mi ritmo lando,
Eso es.
pa' bailar, pa' gozar. Este es mi ritmo lando, pa' bailar, pa' gozar. Este es mi ritmo lando,
Pa' bailar, pa' gozar. Este es mi ritmo lando. Pa' bailar, pa' gozar. Este es mi ritmo lando. Pa' bailar, pa' gozar. Pa' bailar, pa' gozar.
You're tuned to World Vibe Art Sound FM 92.7. I've got special guest in Frank Madrid, where we're exploring music from around the world that has appeared live here in Canberra. Art Sound FM, World Vibe 92.7. My name is Rafael Flores. I've got a special guest in the studio with me, Frank Madrid, and we are exploring bands from around the world who have performed right here in Canberra. We're going to wrap it up pretty soon here, but I wanted to ask you about the Day of the Dead festival, and you are going to be the MC for the whole event.
I am thrilled. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I think it's amazing to be part of an event that is growing organically and it's actually capturing the imagination of the people of Canberra of all ages. And it's something that is so significant and it's something that is so meaningful for Latin Americans in general, particularly, of course, Mexico. It says so much about Mexican culture. And having this opportunity, which of course for you guys out there tuning into Art Sound, you should not miss this opportunity because it's going to transport you right in the heart of Mexican culture for a full day. There is so much, beginning with the fact that I'm going to be all dressed up and with full makeup. How cool is that?
And will we see you in the wrestling ring as well? Because there's going to be Mexican wrestling as well.
Yes, you probably will see me. Well, I would like to imagine myself as a Mexican wrestler. It's a great opportunity. And I'll tell you what, the first thing I did in one of my visits to Mexico City was to go to a Lucha Libre show. It's so exciting, so incredible, so much fun. It's theater at the same time as live performance.
Yeah, it's like I've been explaining it to people that have been asking me, is that it's a battle between good and evil. Like, it's not pretending to be anything apart from like this operatic good guy, bad guy battle.
Totally. Yeah. It's totally exact. It's a very, very good, accurate, I guess, description of what happens. The characters are bigger than life. The excitement is both from performers and audiences. And when I say performers, it's because it's so real and it feels so unique and different and quirky and fun and
definitely
and
quirky,
colorful.
Yeah.
And very, very colorful. And so it's great. The Day of the Dead will be very well celebrated. The program is exciting. It goes from 1 p.m. until the evening. After all this incredible day, then people are asked to be, I guess, transported to Mexico, to the world of Lucha Libre.
To the heart of the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So the next track we'll play will be from a band who will be performing on the weekend at this Day of the Dead festival and also at the Lucha Libre as well. They're from Melbourne and they're called the New Monos, and they kind of it's a bit of a mixture of tango, reggae, kind of bit of rapping and stuff as well. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about your future projects, and we'll finish off with some music from Venezuela.
Excellent.
This is a World Vibe on Art Sound FM 92.7.
Ella arriba, la nube la tapan, pone sensible a más de una muchacha, hace sentir su energía en los montes, la gente a veces se asusta, la mente en blanco enfocado no más, si en neblina se largan a caminar, y más de uno a la cima por vos mi luna y se acuna. Luna, está prendida a fuego, te sale humo del cielo, luna, te estás avioletando como el cabezón. Luna, está prendida a fuego, te sale humo del cielo, luna, te estás avioletando. La tierra mira y la luna gira con ella encima, no se separan rodeando al sol y siguen juntos en cambio de estación. Muchos planetas tienen más de una luna, algunos pocas, otros ninguna. Piensan que todo se obtiene en la cima, la gente sube y se acuna. Luna, está prendida a fuego, te sale humo del cielo. Luna, te estás aviolentando como el cabezón. Luna, está prendida a fuego, te sale humo del cielo. Luna, te estás aviolentando.
That was a track from the New Models called Luna. They'll be performing this weekend on Saturday at the Day of the Dead Festival. My special guest for this edition of World Vibe has been Frank Madrid, who will be MC that event. Frank, what projects have you got lined up for next year or for the future? What can Canberra expect now that you're back?
Okay, it's going to be a jam-packed 2018. And in preparation for 2018, I'm coming back to DJing. I haven't had the chance to be behind the decks here in Canberra. And I'm thrilled that a lot of people are asking me to go and find a space to do it, and it's happening.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Mario Gordon, actually, who used to DJ with a couple of years ago. He's a good friend of ours, and I used to come into your shows. There was Madrid and Gordon, like a DJ duo. That was really nice.
Yeah. No, there was a very good energy, and so we want to bring that energy back into the Canberra music scene at night, going out and having fun, exposing people to exotic sounds, making sure that they're keeping up with the program, with all that music. And then next year I'm hoping to bring back the Pura Vida Festival, probably under a different name perhaps, but the same vibe of bringing a contemporary sound from Latin America.
Beautiful, yeah. And just a reminder that I will put up the documentary about the previous edition of Pura Vida up on the World Vibe Facebook page. If you just search for World Vibe Art Sound FM, you can have a listen and have a look at the festival where actually most of this hour's music has come from that edition of that festival. We're going to end with a track by Desorden Publico. Thank you very much, Frank. I hope it goes very well on Saturday. Everyone out there, the Day of the Dead Festival, Ainsley Arts Centre. Frank Madrid will be your MC.
Thanks for having me, Rafael. It's been wonderful to look back at the catalogue of artists. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been fun.
That's my pleasure, man. Before we leave, can you tell us something about this Venezuelan band? It's
I think we're lucky. We're going to explore the music of Desorden. Publico translates as public disorder, and that's because the trucks of the National Guards in Venezuela used to have that called Desorden Publico sign, but it said Orden Publico, and they turned it into Desorden Publico. It's an iconic band. It's been around for 25 years. The lead singer is Horacio Blanco, and they are really iconic. They are famous all across the continent, particularly when it comes to Latin ska. They are the kings.
And once again, this band has performed here in Canberra?
Yes, they did. They performed as part of the program of music of Floriat, and as well as the Pura Vida Festival. And oh wow, so much energy on stage, 11 performers. I have no idea how we managed to pull this one off, but it happened.
Awesome, man. So all the bands that we've played in this edition have played right here in Canberra. And thanks again, Frank, and we'll sign off and see you guys on Saturday for the Day of the Dead. And you've been listening to World Vibe Art Sound FM. My name is Rafael Flores.
Desde la capital, Caracas, Venezuela. Y en la mitad de la calle una vendedora ambulante que tenía un ojo de vidrio me mostró un curioso artículo. Era un pequeño llavero con forma de crucificado Cristo. Fue así como compré esa potente cruz de metal que tenía escrita la inscripción Made in Taiwan. Resulta ser que esa cruz dentro de sí oculta una navaja que como una picuelo despliega punzante el arma. Cristo navaja, defiende mi billetera mientras da cobijo a mi alma. Cristo navaja, defiende